joining ACCA, Gaurav was at Yes Global Institute, a think tank at Yes Bank, heading the design, innovation, and creativity-led entrepreneurship vertical focused on startups, fintech intervention, policy development, innovation, digital economy, and sustainability. Gaurav has been exceptional in academics and has been recognized at various levels for his achievements and intellect. He is a qualified chartered accountant and an MBA from the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Joining him is Navneet Bansal, CEO, Global Jet Services, JSW. Navneet has a passion to establish and grow shared services centers, a chartered accountant with 23 years of work experience, a career spanning from the Big Four consulting to US-based tech companies, and now with the largest tea producer in India. Navneet has worked with various international and domestic work cultures. Also, please welcome Neha Aluwalia, Regional Head GDS Asia, Middle East, Africa, and North America, Human Resources, ADB. Neha is currently the GBS Head Delivery-led AMEA and NAM for Human Resources for ABB Global Industries and Services Private Limited. Neha has a master's degree in business management in HR and started her career with HCL and then moved to ABB. A very meticulous HR professional, has a good eye for detail and core areas, a proactive approach to solving business problems, strong leadership and influencing skills, and understanding of legal practices and policies, and excellent communication skills. So over for the case presentations to Gaurav Kapoor.
Thank you very much. That's mine. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So good afternoon, all of you. A little bit louder, the session after lunch is always the most toughest session you can ever have. You have to actually wake people up and then keep them engaged for the entire duration. But I'll make sure that we are engaged, and we'll also make sure that it's much more interactive and better discussion. So good afternoon to all of you. Thank you very much. That's a better response. I think this session is actually very critically important, and the reason why we're saying it's critically important is for the fact that we have discussed how digital is transforming HR. We have heard about what should be done. We have heard about best practices, but it's also an opportunity to understand and to actually see various case studies. Listen from actually organizations which have done that change or have been part of that change. In fact, we at ACCA had done a research last year, and we surveyed close to 7,000 people globally in 150 countries, and we tried to figure out what exactly is the next change in terms of how are the organizations supposed to change their workforce, how are the organizations supposed to move towards digital. And there were a couple of key areas we figured out. There are four aspects. The first aspect was digital workforce. Having a workforce which is not only tech-enabled but actually using technology for its own communication. You look at Link, you look at Microsoft, you look at Zoom. How they're using those tools. The second aspect was digital workplace. The workplace itself has to become more digital. That's when we talk about people working in a gig economy. People think that I want to work from home, I want to work from video to co-locations out there. So that's going to happen. The third aspect was a learning. There has to be an element of self-curated learning, and which arises. Earlier, a lot of people would look at aspects of I read these textbooks, I understand the 5 P of marketing, I understand this, and I'm a good person. But nowadays, things are changing. You have to develop a self-curated learning, and people are getting learning not from a textbook, but there are different peer sets of learning which he is actually adopting. So that adoption has to be relevant from an employee perspective. So this was the third one. And fourth, obviously, was change management comes from the top level. How is it that any of the change or any of the decisions, it's the HR, it is the top management which comes together to make that happen. So today we have, thanks for the presence of great two personalities, Navneet and Neha, who are going to present the case of digital transformation in HR. So I would request Neha if you can start the presentation. And the presentation can be loaded.
So thank you, Gaurav. As you very rightly no. Thank you so much. Yes. So, as you very rightly said, it's a tough session, tough for the presenting person as well, because after having such a nice Munda Lalwa, it's not very easy for me, I believe, to present though. So to start with, I want to ask one question to all of you. Let's start with a quiz. Though I am also very bad in general knowledge, but just did some gimmick here. So to start with, do you know who climbed the Mount Everest first? And even Googles are allowed. Sorry? Yeah. Tenzing and Hillary, right? So, and even if you look at the Google, even Google will give this answer. Okay. To my surprise, a few days back, I was reading somewhere. Actually, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norway did it in 1953. But there was a gentleman who did it 2 decades back called George Norway. The only issue was he couldn't come back to tell the story that he did it. So here comes, a big message when I start with HR transformation, and when I come to my real-time story working for ABB, that when you have to do a success story or a change management, you have to really do it complete with all elements completed and make it successful as well. Because nobody will remember if you don't come back and tell the success story. So to start on that, let me start with another level of concept, because I know we've been flooded with so many concepts of drivers of change, how change is important. I really like this concept of also that we need to keep challenging the culture. I mean, as an HR professional throughout my career, there were several times, it's very unknowingly, I tell my employees, please ensure that we maintain our organization culture and stuff like that. But then you actually start challenging your own culture, which is even important. So to start with, there are 3 drivers of change, according to me, and there are various textbooks says. Okay, so what you see in this picture is very interesting. There's something called as desperation. Then another is anticipation, and another is aspiration. There's another example to explain to it is, I'm a bit of fitness freak, so I can connect to that. That aspiration is that every day I run 5 kilometers, go to gym, have a personal trainer with me, and I'm ensuring that come what may, I'm healthy. And the anticipation is that I keep getting my medical tests done, just ensuring that all reports are okay, and if there are something not okay, take relevant action. And desperation is that there's nothing left to be going to doctor, you're pushed to doctor. So because you have no other option. So these are the 3 changes, and in our personal life, we see a lot of them like that, right? So when we say that we need to build organizations of tomorrow, we need to have organizations who actually aspire for change. Not only change when change is desperate. So one of my stories actually a bit of connected to that. In ABB, 3 years back, and I was telling to a few of them today morning, we started this shared service journey 3.5 years back. And like always, we have like India shared service, China shared service, and all that. But then we really thought, why do we need a global shared service? And all of us super reluctant to change, including me. That everything's running fine, everything is there. Who wants to take instruction from Switzerland all the time and things like that? However, there was a time then organization decided that let's make global shared services. Okay, a global shared services out of Bangalore, a global shared services out of Krakow, and stuff like that. And which will serve 80,000 employees at one go and 50,000 employees at one go, working day and night and all that. And from my perspective, I was an HR VP working long time in ABB in various aspects and various leadership roles as well. And then I don't know from where they handpicked me, and they one day made me sit in a room with a bunch of consultants from whosoever you call it, McKinsey's and Deloitte's of the world, and they started telling me lot of abbreviations like KC, KT, onboarding. I said, what are they talking? I mean, what is this world? Are they really telling that something in Egypt I will start learning immediately, and my teams will write some kind of SOPs, and that will come to our teams and stuff like that. Even though I had the India shared service, I couldn't relate to that concept that easily because I was thinking it's okay. I mean, everything is touch and feel. Typically in India, if it's not written, also people are long timers in companies like ABB. People are 30 years, 20 years, and all that. So that's where I really realized when I started going in depth into the shared service industry just 3 years back, I realized that what difference it can make. And starting from me knowing what KCKD is, actually today ABB in less than 3 years, we made 4 global shared service centers, 10 mini shared service centers across the globe, which are serving more than 140,000 employees. And today we serve 42 languages out of shared services, and which is centered at one place. So this was a commendable job, and we ended up saying considerably million savings for the ABB group as well. So this made us a full story for all of us to realize what can actually be done if it's done centrally. And especially for a company like us who never believed that things, or rather who's never even a business of a shared service, right? So this was where we started because for somebody like Infosys or for likewise any big giant, they're in business of shared service. But for us, it's only captive, and to invest so much amount and ensuring that we get return faster was a big deal. So to moving on from there, I would like to actually ask another question to the group that give me one example from our day-to-day life. One change which was really aspiring for change kind of an example. Change was really not required, but a company which keep making change even though there's nobody telling him that they need to change. Just look around, we get examples there, maybe like a table and stuff like that. Amur? Okay, I like to know what they do though, but I am not very sure of that. Anything else? Apple. Thank you so much. And it was not planned, guys. Okay, so if you see at this picture, I mean, when iPhone 5S was there, at least that was the first time I bought iPhone, I really never thought there's any problem. It's perfect. Even I have today my iPhone 5S. It's really perfectly fine. In fact, the battery backup was the best, honestly. So I really never thought that we really need an iPhone after that. And you look at this organization, the way they have evolved, just aspiring for the change and becoming better. This is just one example when we say if they aspire for a change. So moving on to my story, that how, if you see, this is what the pattern was in ABB. So we really were there, and if you see all our competitors, you can see even Siemens and everybody was there. And to catch up to that, was very difficult. Today, we are actually running it pretty well, and I should not say because I lead it. However, whatever said and done, serving so many countries at the same time. I mean, I'm sure many of you are in the shared service world, but running this whole giant setup, even with the amount of infrastructure needed, is just amazing. So this is where we started our journey, and this was our selling slide to our businesses. In fact, one of our slides which we also shared with our business managers, because when I traveled across my countries to do the transformation, they actually used to ask me when I was in Manila, the country managing director asked me, look, I can give you service much better than the rates that you offer in India. Why should I take my services from Bangalore? And to make them believe that the advantage that you can get in India, for that matter, or somebody like Krakow, which have advantage of languages of the world, was very difficult for us. Because it was a few dollars extra, but overall in the group really made a lot of savings. And make this change realized to very senior managers was the huge job for us. And the only mantra, according to me at that time, really worked, because I truly believe a transformation of that magnitude has to be taught. I cannot, in an organization of 140,000 employees, just go and start saying that, look, I believe in shared service and that's why you should form shared service. So it has to be really job-driven. There is a point where we really, even in the capital markets day of ABB Group, which is only an investors day, share is declaring results of ABB Group in headquarters in Switzerland. there was even a topic on why shared service was formed. And that's the importance was given to it, and that really made it quite comparatively quite easier for leaders like us to go on the ground and start working. Because honestly, there was a time when I was asked to go to Australia to do the transformation and get the work to Bangalore, and I landed in Australia in the office, and my colleague, my head of HR there said, look, we are all making you and your team sit on the third floor. There is nobody there, nobody has access there. Please don't tell you are here, and because our people are scared that you're here to take jobs. And that's the real time scenario. And we really started from there to days today when we are best of friends, people are all gaga about it and all that. So it was a very tough journey to cover in 2.5 years. And of course, needless to say, change began with us. So I was leading it until the time I never believed that this will work. It never seemed into me. So this is how we started this whole concept in ABB, and this was the story. Another thing which really worked for us especially, right? Because I started making the shared service, and then after a point I realized that in 6 months I did one country. Then I realized I have to do 48 in 18 months, and if I do 6 months, then the failure is sure. So that is the time I realized, I sat with my team and I said, look, now we know how to do transformation. Let's get out all the consultants out of the room, and it's now time for the real ABBians to take a place and make a project. And that's the time, we took something called as mid-sized country approach. So what we did was that ABB has placement in various geographies like South Asia, North Asia, and all that. So there was, mostly the advice was, you go to a country, pick up the work and come. We said, look, you come to our country, get a belief also that it works. This is the place where we have an office and setup and all that. And when you come here, then our team strength becomes double, because here we have whole office. And then we can do with double the speed. So what we started doing 10 countries at the same time. And that is why we actually made a whole web once the knowledge base is there. So it also gives me another lesson that change is easier once you have your ambassadors in place. So initially the change is little tough, but once I have ambassador and the concepts are clear, it was very easy, to sink in from there and start from there. One more important aspect, which I feel coming to building organization for tomorrow, and personally maybe we will really work on it, is that there's a difference between entertainment and engagement. So this is where when you're in a shared service world, it's very easy, and people might call me wrong, but this is my personal belief, that always everything is important. Festival celebration, all kind of enjoyment, all that. But people don't stay in the organization if we have a good Diwali, Holi, and a Christmas celebration. People come to office if they're engaged at work and not entertained at work. So because sometimes, and with all due respect to all HRBPs, I've been in HRBP all my life, but sometimes when my HRBP come and say, look, people are leaving because on your floor, they are less of engagement. I said, look, that's entertainment. There's enough of engagement on the floor, and once engagement is there and still people want to leave, of course there can be reasons and we can inspect it, but definitely entertainment cannot make you leave. Because even if you have daily Friday fundu, then you still can't have people staying in the organization. So for a change manager's perspective, and especially for a shared service, I think this is very, very important that we keep this aspect very, very strong for us. Coming to, I think, the important part now, another thing was that if you see, this is just one picture I put just to show that we started pretty late, but there was a time when, if you see the line, we had everything we started pre-morning. And I also realized when I started traveling so much that there is no word called pre-morn in English dictionary, and this is only my word, and I went to America. So if you see every country, if you see all have become green because they moved before the time, and that really made us win this battle, and we got for ABB Group a lot of savings even in terms of money. So from my perspective, If all the pillars in HR, not just shared service, because if you are looking for HR transformation in particularly, be it a digital aspect of it or be it anything else, you need to have all pillars together working on resources, process fronting, scope alignment, communication and collaboration, and then it leads to transformation. So we have to be open-minded, embrace the change, give feedback, get involved, and this is the concept then we drove across. Last but not the least, I really want to tell a few pointers which I believe that we should not do while making a shared service or while running a shared service. So one is, and of course all can be little conflicting statements. One is that don't always trust the customer. So what it means is that don't, if they come and complain, all the time, and I'm sure all of you who leave the shared service, who work for shared service more, every day there'll be a noise as if sky is falling, right? So don't always take at the face value. Take your own assessment and then take the analysis. So it's okay to judge it. Second one, don't be penny wise foolish. Okay, because what I meant to say that when you make such a huge body, don't think, okay, I will save some 2,000 rupees for getting a less valued employee and stuff like that. So don't be penny wise foolish, because normally if I see we start cutting costs in various aspects which we should not be doing, because keep people lively, they will get you there. And the third one is, get the consultants or get the external parties, but keep your culture there, because changing the culture is important, but changing the pace of the culture is in your hands. Because it should also not change with the speed that your organization is not even mature to handle. So these are the three things that I particularly faced, and I personally feel I have to make it again, then I will take care of it. A lot of things were also not followed from our side. So this is about it. This was my journey, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Beautiful exercise, catch up on those, aspire to change.
Yes.
Learning to that. Change is easier when you have ambassadors are already out there. And the aspect that you supposed to keep your pressure out there. So I'll ask those questions later on, but I'll first invite Navneet for his presentation.
Okay, good afternoon. So if you have returned from the global tour, it's Neha to let me attempt taking you to some of the Indian cities. Steel capital Salem, a beautiful location in Himachal, Sholto, or a mining city, Chennai. Welcome to JSW. Well, I must acknowledge I'm a little nervous today because I'm a non-HR professional and talking to all of you. So please pardon me, technically I'm wrong somewhere. I'll just give some thoughts which I believe as the head of shared services in JSW, which I should be able to share with you. So first of all, digitizing HR, to me, it's the biggest oxymoron. I have grown up hearing that HR is human resources. And now today we are talking about digitizing human resources. How does it work? Are we saying that the core role of HR, which is connecting with people, taking care of them, developing them, we can actually give it to robots, we can actually give it to systems? I am at house. I'll be happy to hear from some of you how to make these things workable. I mean, nothing is impossible. This is what I've been hearing since morning. 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, it may happen. But today, I don't see that happening too fast. That emotions and HR connect can be replaced by machines. So what I believe digitizing HR means, this is a soup chart of any HR organization anywhere. I'm sorry, the letters are very small, but it tells you that HR does a lot of activities. Okay, from transactional to strategy. Now, is everything HR? I don't believe so. A lot of these activities are so transactional, and they only enable HR to do their functions appropriately. Unfortunately, these activities take 80 to 85% of their bandwidth. Junior to senior, talk anyone. I mean, I talk to my HR head at least a couple of hours every day. 90% majority of the time we only talk about transactions. Okay. And if you look at this chart, the items in whatever green or light blue, these are the easy candidates for any digitization. Be it employee data management, be it payroll, be it generating form 16, blah, 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 blah. The items in what is called magenta or pink, whatever. People performance, whole system architecture, HR and business strategy, and employee relationship. To me, these are core HR. And the wise people globally have also mentioned that as of now, we may not have the right technology to bring digitalization in these three. So let's be clear. When we talk of digitizing HR, we are only talking of those activities which consume a lot of bandwidth of HR people, which otherwise they should not be getting involved. They should more focus on this. So the entire journey of digitization should actually create an environment wherein HR spends less of the time in blues and greens and spend more time in pink. This has been the philosophy which I am trying to drive in my organization. So we are not focusing on widespread digitization, robotics, AI, MIL in entire HR. We have selected activities which could be low-hanging fruit, which could be transfer activities, and focusing more on that. And I really need good people in HR to continue doing a good work in employee relations and HR strategy. I really don't foresee in near future that some of these things I would be able to handle to machines. Now, those who have heard me before would probably know that I'm a big disruption to disruption. What I mean is that everyone in the conference talks about digitization, and everyone talks about automation. I typically take them back to the villages of India and small cities. Same is the story here. If some of you know about what JSW is all about, our 85% of workforce is in Bellaris and Nandias and Sholtus of the country, where they hardly have access to strong 4G internet. So what digitization are we talking about? They don't have even access to computers 8 hours a day because they all work in shop floor. They only access computers half an hour every day when they have to either see an email from HR, that too only from HR, or write a mail to someone. So this is the kind of workforce we manage. And when we adopt a digitization strategy in our HR, we have to take care how this HR strategy, how this digitization strategy will help with 85% of my people. I can't be sitting in Mumbai head office and only talk about digitization, which will only help a very small segment of people who work in corporate. I have to take care of those guys also. So keeping this in mind, we have tried to develop our digitization strategy. Now, last year, an organization did this survey for almost 100 plus Asian Pacific companies. And those companies were ranging from manufacturing to services to aviation to tourism. Every other CEO and CHRO talks about the benefits of AI and digitalization. But the reality is, only 7% of them have actually implemented meaningful digitalization in their organizations. So what does it mean? I would probably today not represent that 70%. So I'm proud that JSW is, we can claim that we are close to 7% because we have also done some digitalization in HR. But I would talk about the challenges which the rest of the 93% organizations probably face and why they are not being able to go digital. What we need to do to make those remaining 93%, which I'm sure some of you would represent that sentiment and organizational behavior, where digitalization, too much of digitalization may not work necessarily. We still need to wait for some more time before we do that. So coming back to JSW, though we are part of that top 7-10% who have been able to meaningfully deploy digital architecture, we have focused largely on this transaction activity. Because we strongly believe that these activities take a lot of bandwidth of our HR people, who are much more capable than spending their time here. And they need to interact more with people, interact more with people. Neha spoke about HR partner concept. Yeah. So I want my HR to be more partnering with employees rather than managing their back office operations. So JSW has purposely focused on these activities on their digitization map rather than talking about everything in HR. Now, for today's discussion, I will focus on two case studies, and I'll briefly touch base on that. Pardon me if most of your organization have already implemented it, but I take pride because we just implemented it. And we know what kind of challenges we face, that how to do a change management in an employee who is a diploma holder working for 15 years in a remote location like LI, and we expect them to use computer and fill up their tax forms or fill up their income tax proofs digitally. It was a big change management for us. So what we did first was, we brought in digitization in income tax proof solution process. In India, and I'm sure all of you would reconcile with me, January, February, March is a pain for payroll processing and HR organization to manage this volume. In JSW world, we are talking of dealing with 15,000 odd employees, and every employee has to fill in close to 40 different data points to be able to successfully claim tax. So what we thought was, rather than talking about moons and stars, fix the basic problem first. So we took this as a project, wherein we digitize our tax proof submission process from scratch. How it helped? It has helped saving that manual data entry of those 15,000 into 40 fields data point by a bunch of people during those 3 months of crucial time during period. So what we did, we created a very small portal, no very fancy stuff. The language we used was something which non-English speaking employees in remote south or western countries can also read it. And we said, okay, you have some tax proofs, please submit this basic information. Do it yourself. Give your paper documents to my scanning station. They will scan it. We just take a print of what you have submitted and send it. We will deploy OCRs of the world, we will deploy the rest of the things, we'll match yours according to the details. If any problem, we'll call you, else assume that your tax deductions are taken care of. So that's the first, a small but significant transformation we brought in for our employees in JSW. And believe me, we got more thank you mails on this than any of the other big initiatives which we have taken in the last couple of years. Because this touched every employee, junior most employee, and senior people always have their EAs and admins to do that. It actually touched 15,000 people at a ground level and saved a lot of time and effort. Second, which was related, is all payroll process. Now, payroll is, of course, everyone's close to the part. You can't afford to make mistakes in payroll. For our own reasons, JSW has decided not to outsource their payroll operations to any other party. We have this function in-house managed by shared services. Now, recently, we have brought in RPA or robotics to automate this entire payroll process. Now, why it is important? We used to get inputs, payroll inputs, from 25 different locations. Their HR used to collect data and send us the inputs. And what kind of inputs are we talking about? Our people don't have every month, people who work in France, they don't expect same salary coming every month. There are quite a few variables. They live in township, those rent, those electricity bills, there is some co-share portion, something they need to bear. All of these components make every month's payroll a little different one. We don't expect same salary every month. So collecting standard data from 25 different locations itself is a big challenge. Because they get different format, different set of information. So first we went and created smart forms. And we said, guys, look, this is basic. Please send us your inputs in standard template. We will put robots to read those templates and process payroll. So this is the third month we have been processing payroll through robots, zero error. And we have gone a step ahead. After processing payroll, our robots also compute tax, also goes to the tax website and upload the file. The only challenge is capture, which we have to enter manually while accessing that website because robots are able to do that. Our robot also goes to create website and upload the PF details. Our robot also generates PF challans and submit a bank file to our accounting team for payment. So this end-to-end process from getting inputs till upload of PF and upload of taxation, we have used robots. The payroll, which was earlier being managed by 15 odd people, is actually now 3 or 4 people. That too, because we ourselves are not sure on the capabilities of robots. So we again want to double check everything. Though we hardly find errors, but still we want to double check because we don't want to mess around with payroll. So probably over a period of time, we will generate more confidence and we may not require these 3 or 4 people also to involve in this payroll process. So these are the two back-end but extremely important activities which affect every employee. We started to do digitalization. Now let's talk about HR. As I mentioned, back-end operation is one aspect of it. HR should be spending more and more time at the front end dealing with employees. Can digitalization do something there? Limited way, but yes. So what we have done is we have taken one front-end activity with HR, and that's HR training. Irrespective of whatever we do, employees will send their queries, employees will have their grievances, employees will have their question, why so much of tax is deducted, why IPA is not correct, why expense is not there. So we do get 150 to 200 queries every day. These queries come either through telephone or through email. So we have tried to make life of HR little easier and life of those query raisers little more by bringing some digitalization. So what we have done is we created a mobile app and a platform which can be accessed both from mobile phone as well as from computers. Okay. Employees need to log in, raise a ticket. If the ticket reaches someone in shared service center, there is a chatbot. If the chatbot is able to apprehend that request, chatbot will give the access to the policy document or practice document, etc. to that employee. Please read it. Your query should be addressed here. If you are unable to do, again drop in a note to us on chat, and then we'll connect it to someone which is a human. And that human being will now address their queries. So in this entire change management, what we have done is 40% or 42%, if I'm to be precise, queries which HR used to spend time on are now getting addressed through self. The remaining 62% queries, either someone individual needs to investigate, spend some time, do some analysis, and then give an answer, or probably they know the answer, they just need to respond. But chatbot was unable to do that. So that's a learning opportunity for chatbot. So this is how we have tried to manage or transform our entire employee query management. We are continuing to make improvements here. We continue to make this application more and more employee friendly. For example, and here this is where we are using a little bit of AI and robotics. For example, Navneet Bansal is sitting in one remote area. He has a very honest tax close. Now my AI and robotics has access to Navneet Bansal's entire employee data. He knows my location, he knows my department, he knows my function, he knows my management. So the moment Navneet Bansal types on chatbot that, hey, I have a query, the chatbot will respond. Good morning, Navneet. Hope weather in Bellary is good. How are you doing today? Are you good with your monthly close activities in finance? So they will, chatbot will do some suggestions. So half of my frustration will go away only by tracking that someone is personalized and is actually asking me how much to do. And then I go to the inquiry. So the entire aggression, the entire so-called frustration literally gets diluted the moment our smart chatbot interacts in a personalized manner. So this is what we are trying to do. No dry, cut and dry responses. How can we make it more human? If my computer is able to do that, good. Otherwise, I will prefer a human to take that call and talk to them. So these are some of the digitization initiatives which we have taken in JSW. Not a very big science, but these, according to us, have been a little bit of game changer as far as our employee experiences goes with shared service center in JSW. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandi. I think it was very enlightening to know how basically two different perspectives of how change is happening here at the ground level when you actually have people in tier 3, tier 4 towns and cities and how it's happening on a global platform. There is one question which arises and which is probably common and probably would get it inside is that any change, if you may talk about HR digitalization or you may talk about AI, has to have a support from the top level. When you're top level, the board level, the CEO, right? In your case, in JSW as well as an ABP, when you were trying to drive this change, how easy or difficult first it was to convince the top level to understand the gravity or the benefit which it can entail? And if they were aligned very closely, how did they drive it across it?
Okay, sure. So in my experience, board is only worried about two things: budget and employee emotions. As far as I'm able to convince them that this will neither take too much of money, nor affect all the employees, just simply do whatever you want to do, and so it's pretty easy. Okay. As I mentioned, I have not yet ventured into more expensive and more advanced concepts in HR space. We have done a lot of work in commercial and finance, but not in HR. So I have not yet got that pushback from board in terms of allocating necessary budgets or allocating necessary resources. It has been simple so far.
So you got the support from the board and the
Yeah, sure, Gaurav. In fact, for us, though it was a big transformation because it was big in two ways. We were not just making shared service, we were also making HR from 2 pillar to 3 pillar. So we were also like this, HR India shared service and the HRBP, that's all. So all center of expertise and shared service, everything were together. So to now make 2 to 3, first of all, we have to rewrite how HR functions. So basically, we are basically trying to tell you, tell a line manager, look, if you now want to hire a white collar employee, then the shared service will do a long listing. Then the center of expertise will do a short listing. Again, come to shared service for scheduling the interviews. Again, go to center of expertise. So to even make them believe that there are so many handshakes, it was a big deal for us. So, and in an organization, it's not just top. So there's a top, then a little lesser than the top, and then a little lesser than the top. So the problem is actually top is convinced also. The next 2-3 layers, it's very, very important to convince because they mostly run the business on the fields in the countries and get literally the thanka for the company. So getting that was difficult for us. So top management was very clear, as I told in my presentation also, this was there and that's why it could work. But the next 2-3 layers was really difficult. And what we did was we did something called as roadshow. So we created a full, when I say it was just a presentation, but huge effort to say that what is the benefit for a line manager when we become from 2 to 3 pillar. So that we actually created brochures, we went to all the whole globe, literally every part of the globe to convince managers why it is important on their floors. There's another second thing which we did was, it was basically at that time we called this white collar productivity. Because we were not just making HR shared services, we actually made IAS, SCM, finance, everything. So now they were asking why only white collar? So what have we done that blue collar are not going through this? So this I used to explain them with that example. I don't have that slide right now, but I actually showed them 4 pictures. I took a transformer factory picture from 4 countries, one from Brazil, one from China, one from India, and one from somewhere else. And then I asked them, Just showing the pictures. Tell me which, and of course not showing any faces. Tell me which picture is from there. And of course, all transformer factory look the same across the board. So, and that was my example to then tell you blue collared is already standardized. Shop floors are pretty much standardized in the way they function. What is not standardized is the way, of course, we are doing accounts payable now. Or what is not standardized is the way we today actually run the recruitment in every country. So this is what the kind of things we had to do at all levels to convince the top management, but this is the most important.
That is really exciting. My next question actually comes from understand the requisite skill set and the manpower to make it happen. And where I'm coming from is from the aspect that we did a research 2 years back and we surveyed 19,000 people in 150 countries, and we asked the millennials, in that case, millennials plus people less than 35 years, and we asked them, when would you like to make the next change in job? 35% said in the next 1 year, and 97% said in the next 3 years. So they're ready to change the job. The next question we asked them is that why or what will make you change the job? Or why do you want to make the change? And we're surprised to know that financial remuneration aspect was number 3. It was not even the 1 or 2. The first part is the millennial and the generation next to us was that how interesting the job is, and can I actually upgrade or can I learn new skills? So the demand and what they were expecting was that if I have a skill set, money will come. Your organization will pay me money, so money is no longer the criteria. So I'm just asking from your organization perspective, how do you feel when this change was happening in terms of skill set within your employee workforce, and how are they up to it? Or do you find that you don't have the talent, or they need to be educated, these skills, or what was it? They have to do?
Okay. So, yes, first of all, we didn't have that. It's true, because we never had that. But whatever we had, people like me also was only passionate, but nothing else, no skills. I mean, no skills to run a shared service, to make a shared service. So we needed people who at least know how to run the shared service. So when they told me that, look, you have to make it, I said, look, I can provide leadership, but I don't know how shared service runs. So then in that case, we really need a team. I mean, all my 200 people at that time had to be picked up from the market. So today, the shared service that we have is around 250 people in Bangalore. And all of them had to be from the market. I mean, but then we realized, look, all 250 from the market, is it a good idea? Because, when I meet people, when I started meeting people from the shared service and, that how does it work, everybody's, I have a long time with the ABP and I come from the belief that in office, even if it's Delhi, that hot, wearing the tie is completely okay. And that's how I've seen my company. I mean, even Friday dressing was not that. So then I suddenly, when I meet people and they say, look, people will come in Bermudas to office and, there will be, forget it, there's no culture left, they can start beating in office and, things like that. When I take any interview, they will talk to me like that. So I was really scared. I said, where am I getting into? So then I realized we need to get a good mix. We really can't get revolution overnight, especially when it comes to people. So then in that case, we did a mix. So we really ensured that the first 200, we have 30, 40 of the previous India shared service, very seasoned guys who ensure that at least there is a little bit of depth of where we are coming from, what is the history, if we are like this, why it is like this, and embrace it. And there is rest coming who tells us that how eventually it runs. And second important thing, which I personally and organization also want to drive is, there is a difference between a job and a career. So you can have jobs after jobs. You can keep getting whatever equivalent to inflation kind of salary hikes. But to have a career, then it means something else. So this is what we try and tell to all people, that look, when you're coming to shared service or an HRBP or a center of expertise, it really doesn't matter. First of all are equivalent. And secondly, come here when you only need a career. So a career means something more than coming for 9 to 6 job. What I'm saying is not just be in office, but just ensuring that you give that extra mile to make that career. Because otherwise you will only have jobs and keep shifting jobs every 2 years, but that won't take you anywhere.
Okay. So Naveen, yours is a very different case scenario where actually your employees, a lot of them in tier 3, tier 4, may not have the requisite technological scale to be, up to the system? And how is it that you make the organization gear up for this change? What exactly do you do?
Yeah. So Ravi, please don't blacklist me for saying again something which is not conventional. So I have a exactly different experience. I am spending more time in making people unlearn than actually making them learn new things. My 80% of population has come from manufacturing mindset and manufacturing background. They have been doing the same activity which we move to shared services for ages, but in a very conventional environment in plants especially. So first of all, converting them from manufacturing mindset to a service mindset itself was an extremely big challenge for me. So first 1.5 years, we spent a lot of time in actually training them that okay, guys, now the people who used to be your colleagues are now your customers. Treat them respectfully. Okay. Otherwise, it was extremely difficult for us to bring productivity and improve customer experience, etc. So we have spent a lot of time and energy in making those few things online first. And now we are spending time in upskilling their skills. I have a sizable number of population in my team who have, by virtue of their experience and number of years they have spent in JSW, they call themselves as senior managers and GMs and AGMs, but they still do data entry in KPs, accounts payable. Okay. So I have a so-called village who is drawing 3 lakh rupees salary to do 40 invoices a day, is against a tenured employee who is taking 40 lakh rupees a year and only able to do 15 invoices. How do we make that balance? And we have a culture where we cannot hire and fire people just like that. So we have to spend more time on this 40 lakh guy to actually learn that invoice processing and start doing managerial role or take skills to the next level. So those are the kind of things we are currently focusing. Not easy. We have a thankfully support of promoters and senior management. But yeah, people are people. It takes time to go through that grind and learn. And I'm happy that out of 80% people whom we have brought in, we categorize them into okay, not generally for public, but between HR and me. That okay, these are the set of managers who call themselves managers. Now we have to make them managers. And we spent next 1 year in creating a complete L&D roadmap for them. We hired an external consultant, we created a series of trainings for them and gave them trainings of how a manager should behave and what manager should do. And now slowly we are inducting them in a managerial profile. So those are some of the examples we are currently. Yeah,
I totally agree on the unlearn and the skill and the rescaling part of it. We just have now 5 minutes. If anyone wants to ask any question. Everybody is very clear.
Not confused.
Not confused.
Yes, maybe out of the complex we can say, but any of the learning which you can say, I mean, we do a lot of things in terms of transformation and all. Any example when you made the strategy but that did not work out, what were the reasons behind that if that did not work out? So any example you could like.
Okay. Yes. So when we created this shared service center, the initial thought process was that since we have that talent sitting in plants, we should make maximum use of them and bring all of them into shared service center and groom them. The initial ratio was 90:10. 90% people we get from plant and only few leadership positions who have experience in shared services management will hire from outside. But after 6-8 months, we realized that not everyone was super trained. I think their training life had expired. So then we had to change that course correction. And we said, okay, it may not work because we need some leaders and managers who understand shared service concept, who understand the importance of productivity, who understand the importance of technology, who understand the importance of speed. So we decided to hire a battery of managers for the 15 to 20 from outside Mumbai. So that was one thing which come to my computer. Our first thing didn't work out, so we had a battery.
Yeah, I can even mention one. So when you making shared service, you have this day marking more attitude. Said that shared service get more work, have more number of people. So I was in the same street after initial success. So then I became very excited because I had one center in Bangalore and one in Bangalore. I said, look, let me get Canadian French here because everybody said to me that French is available. And I got so excited, I thought, okay, let me get China also here. And then eventually I realized that, first of all, I mean, I was sure that I learned Mandarin from here, but I was not sure that the process in China is so Mandarin that even resumes are in Mandarin. So I thought there's a lot of still English work that I can do it from here. So that was a mistake I did. I decided to take China into Bangalore. I mean, we had a center in Xiamen, we could have done this, but by the time it was too late. And till today, actually, I served China from India. Because once you pick it up, it's a huge process to even think about it again. Maybe, but in the future we need to do. The same I did with Canadian French. So I thought French and Canadian French is the same. First of all, that I big mistake I did. So I picked up the people, and then eventually when I started looking at Canadian French, then I realized that the dialect is very different. And when these people started talking, writing the job profiles and all, they started making mistakes. And there was huge amount of noise. And in shared service, I mean, every day there is a noise, looks like the sky is collapsing and all that. So then I couldn't do it. And now the resource pool for Canadian French is so small in Bangalore that if one person resigns, my heart fails because you know how to replace it. So like this, you make this mistakes where you just think, yeah, it's possible, and you get more work. So that little bit that they manage more attitude you have to control, even if you're doing well. Otherwise, you stop somewhere.
Yeah, but until Mange more, any other questions we have? I think we're good. So I think we'll Mange more for this conference also. So thank you very much, Neha. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, Gaurav, and both the great moderators and the panelists. I'd like to invite Harmeet Seth, AVP HR, Event Services here, please. So Harmeet, could you give a memento to Neha? May we have Mr. Rajesh Garia, Chief Transformation Architect, RW Group here, to give a memento to Navneet Bansal. And Mr. Aurobindo Biswas of Escorts. To present a memento to Gaurav Kapoor. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We now have a tea break till 3:40, 45. 3:45. So please reassemble at 3:45. Thank you.